Hello, this is Mr. Chabry, and I'm here with another narrated Pokemon battle. So this is going to be a battle against Darkion66. We're going to be doing a Mono-type battle. My opponent is bringing a Flying-type team, as I'm bringing a Poison-type team. So I'm actually going to lead off with Gengar. This thing is Scarfed. It hits pretty hard, and I'm actually hoping for a quick KO on the first thing that comes in, as that ends up being this Crobat. So I'm actually going to stay in and Shadow Ball. Looking at it, that might not have been the best play because the Crobat will be able to survive a Shadow Ball. I probably should have switched into something that was bulky and tried to pressure the Crobat. Maybe go into my Toxapex, take the Brave Bird, and then try to Scald Burn this thing. So it'll be easier. But unfortunately, I'm going to make a questionable play right off the bat, and we're going to lose Gengar. Gengar would have been really nice to keep around because it outspeeds everything. And it does really good work. But now my opponent's actually going to go for a Roost, and what I should have done was actually Shadow Sneak there. I was actually going to go for a Pursuit just in case my opponent tried to switch. But yeah, that was actually not a good play either on my part. I should have just went ahead and went for a more offensive move instead of expecting a switch. But now I'm going to take a Brave Bird for that. And unfortunately, right off the bat, I'm not making that great of plays. We do, however, get rid of Crobat, and I do think Crobat would have been the biggest threat on my opponent's team. Other than this Mega Charizard, Mega Charizard is a bigger threat, and it would have been really nice to have Gengar to be able to come in and Shadow Ball this thing. But unfortunately, we do not have our Gengar, and we do have to rely on Muck here, because Muck is my Assault Vested set. Of course, we're going to dodge the Inferno, which is really nice, and I'm going to Poison Jab here and get some nice damage. We're also going to get the Poison on Charizard, so that's really good. But at this point, I'm thinking about it. Let's not make any more bad plays. I'm going to go ahead and switch Muck out, because keeping Muck alive actually looks pretty nice, especially for that Sigilyph in the back. So I'm going to go into Toxapex this time, as my opponent actually switches up, goes for Flamethrower for more accuracy. I think Inferno is that move that actually burns berries. I think that might have been why my opponent went for that on Muck, because most Mucks carry like a Weaky Berry and Gluttony, but mine happens to be Salt Vested and Poison Touch. So I'm going to go into my Toxapex. Even though the sun is up, I'm just going to Scald, as my opponent makes a switch into Tropius. And Tropius is kind of a problem too. I don't know exactly what set Tropiuses usually run. I do know they have access to Chlorophyll, so it's kind of a scary thing, because that way they can outspeed you in the sun. I'm going to go Crobat. Crobat should be able to take anything. And I'm just going to go ahead, pop my Z move. It might have been best for me just to Brave Bird here and then pop my Z move at another time. But I'm wanting to try to get as much damage as I can with Crobat, and this would have taken care of any possible switch in. So yeah, we're going to hit this thing with a Super Sonic Sky Strike, and that will be enough to completely demolish the Tropius. So Tropius is gone. Tropius is a Pokemon that you don't see very often, so I'm kind of interested in like what sets they usually run. Like I said, I do know it has Chlorophyll, so that's actually pretty interesting. But now my opponent brings in this thing, the Swellow, and Swellow, I know, usually is Specs and has Boom Burst. I'm going to go ahead Brave Bird, and the Brave Bird will be enough to finish this thing off as well. So actually Crobat is starting to take a lot of damage from Recoil, but it's doing pretty good because it's getting some nice sweepage here. We got rid of Swellow, and that thing was a pretty big threat. And now my opponent actually goes for a Detect, I guess, to see what I do. I'm just going to go for a Brave Bird. It might have been best. If I knew that Unpheasant usually runs Detect, I would have been better off to Roost there. But Unpheasant's another one of those Pokemon you don't see very often, so you never know some of these Pokemon what they'll do. So I'm going to go ahead, Brave Bird here, and we're going to take an Air Slash. And that will unfortunately take out our Crobat. But Crobat did really good. We totally turned this entire game around with Crobat. And now Nidoking can come out and do some work. And I'm actually going to substitute here. I actually didn't know which one would be faster, Unpheasant or Nidoking, because I never see Unpheasant. I don't know its speed. But Nidoking actually ends up outspeeding, so now we have a beautiful, beautiful substitute. We don't have to worry about the Air Slash flinching us out. And now my opponent brings out the Sigilyph. And the good thing about this Nidoking is it comes packing Ice Beam, so Ice Beam is going to be really good here, especially against a team that has a flying types. And the Ice Beam will be enough to finish off Sigilyph. Does Sigilyph get Infiltrator? I'm not sure. It probably does. That's probably why my opponent went into it, hoping to, attack me with a Psychic type move that bypasses Substitute. But Nidoking's actually looking like it's going to finish up the game here. I'm just going to Sludge Wave now. That will be enough to finish off the Charizard. Nidoking getting some KOs, and Charizard is gone. So, really, that actually only leaves Unfezant on my opponent's side, and I don't think Unfezant has anything that it can really do at this point. Of course, my opponent might get one Detect, but that's not going to prevent the next Ice Beam from hitting. It's not really going to do anything because it doesn't have leftovers or anything, but I'm just going to go ahead, Ice Beam, and finish off this Unfezant. So nice. Nidoking really doing some good work. Crobat turning the entire game around, especially where we made some questionable plays early on. So yeah, this Poison-type team is really nice, and Nidoking's a really good Pokemon. I really love Nidoking. So if you like this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I will see you in the next Pokemon video.